Smiley from the Energy Boutique, bringing you your November energy forecast. So since your birthday, it has been a little bit of a tough start, really kind of initiating your new solar energy. And especially seeing as we jumped out of Libra season and jumped into Scorpio season, the death, the endings, the closures have definitely been very, very in our face. And of course, the shadow work has been very strong and very intense. Not to mention the eclipse energy that we are still very much under is definitely throwing in another layer of confusion. And coming into November, we are definitely still under the influence of Scorpio season and eclipse season, which means that we likely have no clue what is going on. We just hope that it will end here very shortly. Now, I am going to recommend that you go ahead, you listen to November's energy forecast, where I can go to a little bit more depth and detail on what November's energy will be for us. However, just know that coming in halfway through the death and rebirth situation and season of Scorpio is never a pleasant time, and eclipse energy is always throwing a wrench into our plans. So we just had the new moon partial solar eclipse in Scorpio energy on the 25th of October. This is kind of continuing the spiritual life lesson that we began in the fall of 2021. And for you, this has been on the second house and the eighth house axis, the Scorpio dominant and Taurus axis of your chart. Now, this whole life lesson has been about dabbling into the shadow realm of our thoughts, of our emotions, of our memories, of our experiences, and really kind of unearthing the unconscious blocks that we have set up unknowingly, blocking us from truly aligning with what it is that we're passionate about and what it is that we truly desire. Of course, the eighth house and that Scorpio energy is showing us what it is that needs to die in order for the second house and the Taurus energy to show us what it is that needs to be rebirthed and created. So that new moon that we just had in that Scorpio energy would have been in your second house of self-worth, self-value, routines, relationships, money matters. And where Scorpio rules over that, it likely showed you in a big way what needed to die, what needed to end, what we need to close the door on in order for a new chapter to begin. We will figure out what that new chapter actually is on November 8th when the full moon total lunar eclipse takes place in Taurus energy, illuminating your eighth house. So this is going to be a full illumination on where it is that we have to get back to the basics, where it is that we have to focus on, some self-love, some self-care, where it is that we have to do the work in our self-confidence, our self-esteem in order to kind of attract the kinds of people that are going to help us heal instead of mirror back to us the wounds that we are still keeping very much alive and very well within our unconscious self. This Taurus energy is going to show us where it is that we have to kind of put an ending to some relationships in our lives, especially the negative situation that we have with ourselves, in order for there to be new like-minded people entering into our life and really lending us the encouragement and the support that we desire at this particular point of our chapter. The full moon in Taurus is also going to illuminate for us where it is that we have to get back to the basics of what it is that we just love, that brings us happiness, that brings us a sense of joy and sense of pleasure. The one thing that has been very strong for you, seeing as we've been on this Taurus and Scorpio axis since the fall of 2021, is that you share a common ruler with this Taurus energy, which of course is Venus. And Venus being, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and money, she's in Scorpio at the time of this full moon eclipse energy, really kind of peeling back the layers on her shadow self, on her pain, on her trauma, in order to leave herself in a very raw and vulnerable state of truth. And that raw and vulnerable state of truth is illuminating for us the passions, the desires that we have stuffed down, that we have gone to great lengths to not even acknowledge. And of course, revive those particular passions and desires and see where it is that we've actually been blocking our own blessings. Speaking of Venus, the ruler of your sign will be moving out of that Scorpio energy and moving into Sagittarius energy on November 16th. This will be illuminating your third house of your mental plane, of information, of communication, and how it is that you are expressing yourself. So just a heads up, we have a lot of placements moving into the Sag energy throughout the month of November. And the more the Sag energy builds, the greater the spotlight on this third house for you. So having Venus and Sag, first of all, we are standing in the light of the very, very dark pit that we just crawled out of in Scorpio energy, where we totally transformed who it is that we are, the values that we have, the worth that we see within ourselves, the people that we choose to share our life with, and of course, our wants, needs, and desires for financial safety and security. Venus is moving into Sag. She's ready to kind of stand in her new truth. It's a fire energy, so we are kind of feeling revived. There's a spark, a fire, a flame being ignited within us. We're excited about life again because we're seeing things from a different perspective, a different set of eyes. Now, Venus still being very focused on, love and pleasure and money and joy and happiness. She in Sagittarius energy is a little bit more fun, a little bit more flirty, a little bit more fancy free. She's definitely more attracted to people that she wouldn't normally be attracted to. She finds a lot more interest in intellectual conversations of spirituality and philosophical perspectives and concepts. And especially where this third house is being spotlighted, this is new perspectives coming in for you. This is new information coming in that changes the beliefs within yourself and what it is that you actually believe is possible for you. This is a brand new vision on what it is that you actually want for yourself, especially when partnerships are concerned. And in this third house, this is also you being able to communicate and express what it is that you want, need, and desire from the people in your life with a little bit more boldness and bravery and confidence than you would have had in any other season. On the 17th, just the next day, we have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication. Also, the ruler of this third house that is on spotlight for you this month, moving into Sagittarius energy as well. So Mercury moving into Sag, first of all, when we're talking about communication, we're very blunt. We're very straightforward. We're very to the point. And we have a new truth to speak. We have no problem expressing our thoughts, our ideas to other people, but we should really practice using a filter. Although being straightforward and blunt and to the point is an admirable quality, we have zero filter with Mercury in Sag. And because of that, we could actually cause a lot of hurt feelings without using that filter. Now, Mercury in Sag means that our mental plane is focused on big ideas, on big dreams, on the possibilities that await us. It is focused on our horizons. It is focused on a more optimistic and confident type of inner narrative. Not a bad deal at all. Mercury setting up shop in its place of power in this third house for you is definitely going to be a renovation, a resurrection of your inner realm, that inner narrative, that inner perspective that had gotten a little bit dark, of course, in Scorpio season. We are a lot more expressive, a lot more eager to share our point of view, our emotions, our ideas with other people, and we are definitely looking to kind of expand our minds and dive into more kind of spiritual and philosophical topics, especially in conversation. On November 22nd, we have the sun moving into Sagittarius season, again, illuminating your third house. Now, with the sun being our life force energy, shining a bright light on what it is that we want to do, what we need to do, what we really need to embody as far as the qualities and characteristics of the season go. The sun in Sag is shining a bright light on where it is that we want to go from here. There's a new path, a new direction, a new quest, a new adventure opening up for us. There's new passions, new desires that we would have realized, a new truth that we would have aligned with. And the sun in Sag just wants us to act as our higher self, align with our intuition, and merely observe how it is that we've gotten here and take a different perspective on some of the tough love life lessons that have been thrown at us and how important it is for us to kind of go through those tougher life challenges in order for us to learn how strong and how powerful we actually are. Now, the sun in Sag, again, shining a bright light on where it is that we want to go from here. We really are trying to identify what it is that our goals are, what our dreams are, what the vision is. And yes, we might bite off more than we can chew. Yes, we might dream too big of a dream that will have to be compressed and minimized when we move into Capricorn season. But overall, having this happen in your third house of your mental plane of information and communication is a welcomed change. This is a fire energy. This is really going to kind of re-spark some interest in some educational paths and directions that maybe you got away from in the past because of time or energy management. This is highlighting for you where it is that you need to have a little more of a bold and brave and courageous point of view, a little bit more of a stronger position and authority to express yourself and truly let people know where it is that you are now setting your sights on, what your intentions are, especially when it comes to I'm going to say, personal relationships that you deal with in the run of your day-to-day life. Now, on the 23rd, we have the new moon in Sag, also in your third house. The new moon in Sag is closing the door on the last 2.5 year cycle of having a whole lot of information come at us in our physical realities that had no choice but to alter the way that we believe in the world, believe in the cosmos, believe in ourselves. And with the new moon in Sag now taking place at 1 degree, we are closing the door on that chapter and opening up a brand new chapter that we are going to experience for the next 2.5 year cycle. The hardest part with the new moon in Sag is actually being able to focus in on a particular goal, on a particular dream or vision. We're scatterbrained, we're excited, we're a little bit manic. We have a brand new life force energy. We want to dabble in everything. We want to experience a little bit of everything. And because of this, we could have too many irons in the fire and become very overwhelmed and not focused in on any intentions at all. Because this is the third house for you, I would say that this is going to be a lot of energy in your mental plane, a lot of energy in your head. It's going to be very hard to sort out what your path is, what your plan is. This third house is also ruled over by Gemini energy, which is very polarized. We have to debate everything. We have to weigh the pros and cons. We have to find a happy middle point in the extreme points of view, paths and decisions and choices that we're currently debating. The new moon in Sag, though, has us very heart-centered, which means that as long as you're being real and raw and vulnerable with yourself, you're going to know what passions and desires you're actually being called to pursue. On the same day, just hours after the new moon takes place, we have Jupiter, who rules over the new moon in Sag, who rules over Sag season and Sag energy, who's all about growth and expansion, beliefs and blessings, go direct in Pisces energy. So Jupiter crept back into Pisces energy in a retrograde position at the end of October. And this actually takes us back to the end of 2020, the beginning of 2021, where we all entered into a realm of trying to master or perfect a certain skill or life lesson. Now, Jupiter going direct in Pisces after having gone retrograde in Pisces was a little bit of a refresher, taking us back to the beginning of 2022. Basically from January to May, we were trying to wrap something up, trying to make peace with something. We were trying to bring something full circle. And then Jupiter moved into Aries in May, and we just said, you know what, screw it, I'm on to new things. I'm going to pour my time and energy into bringing new things to life. And what happened? Well, we didn't accomplish what it is that we set out to accomplish. So Jupiter going retrograde at the end of October back into that Piscean energy gave us a time to rest and reflect, gave us a time to reconnect with our higher selves, with our intuition, to redefine what it is that our goals are, that our dreams are, to kind of renew our spirit, renew our faith in what is actually possible. So having Jupiter go direct in Pisces, especially in the 6th house for you, there's been a lot of topics and themes thrown at you over the last 2 years that had a lot to do with your day-to-day life, with your mental health, with pouring just as much time and energy into balancing the mind, body, and soul equation within yourself as you were pouring into trying to help other people. There were likely a lot of health issues that came up for your acknowledgement over the last 2 years that you had to tackle, realizing that just as much as you needed a healthy exercise routine or a healthy, structured routine for your days, you also need a spiritual practice. That 6th house sits across from the 12th house that Pisces naturally rules over. And this is about balancing the scales between doing what we can do in our physical lives for our physical body and doing what we can do in our daily lives in order to make space for our soul to be as nourished and nurtured as our physical bodies are. So Jupiter going direct in Pisces energy, especially in the 6th house, you're going to see a lot of the challenges that you've been faced with over the last 2 years, where your day-to-day life is concerned, where your routines, your roles, your responsibilities, where your work was concerned, where your mental health was concerned, where your physical health was concerned, actually come to an end, actually come to a close. And Jupiter will be direct in Pisces energy all the way up to December 20th, the day before the winter solstice. And on the winter solstice, we will have Jupiter move into Aries energy once again, giving us an opportunity to redo what it is that we tried to do back in May that didn't work out so well. This is setting us up for a beautiful stage, a beautiful platform for 2023, where we definitely will be able to see a lot more productivity in our growth, in our improvement, in our beliefs, and in our abundance as we tried to do back in May of this year. So some of the messages that I would like to kind of pass along to you for you to focus on as you navigate the energies of November. The first one is that this is likely going to be the month when you start to feel like yourself. Many of my Libran friends did not feel that rejuvenation, that resurrection on their birthday from their solar return that you were supposed to get. I blame retrograde season. I also blame all of those planets being in Earth energies. Of course, we dove into Scorpio season. We dove into eclipse season. Nobody was feeling like themselves. But I feel like when we move into Sag energy, this is when you're actually going to start feeling yourself again. And more than that, you're going to feel like yourself, but a 2.0 version of it. This is where you get your spirit, your energy renewed. This is where the trust and the faith within yourself and the greater, grander cosmos is renewed. This is also a brand new emotional cycle for you, because I think you've had a lot of tough love life lessons thrown at you that is totally changed and transformed the way that you look at your emotions, some of the pain and trauma that was inflicted on you because of your personal relationships. And because of Scorpio season being kind of so, I'm going to say cleansing, if you will, it almost feels like you're a lighter version of yourself, especially where your heart chakra is concerned. I feel like there's a lot of beautiful opportunities coming at you in the month of November, especially when we see all of these planets move into this Sag energy. I think that when you realize how powerful your mind is and how connected your mind is to your reality, the minute that you see that mental plane and inner narrative shift and the opportunities to improve, to receive, abundance in your physical reality come at you at the same time, you're really going to be fired up and really do a deep dive into what it is that you can transform as far as your mental plane and the mental narrative goes. I feel like you have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into yourself, into your mental health, into your physical body over these last couple of years. Again, very Jupiter in Pisces dominant in that 6th house. And because of that, you're starting to see the positive rewards of all the work that you've done by putting a little bit more time and energy into yourself instead of trying to pour that time and energy into everyone else. Now, I know the goal for everyone is always to reach a happy, healthy point of view in your home and in your family. But for my Libran friends, this is just getting back to some sense of normal. My Libran friends over the past 2.5 years have had such major pain and trauma thrown at them in their home, in their family dynamics, from some very not so nice energy exchanges with some of the people closest to them, that they have finally gone through a cleansing period, a rebalancing period, and now you're moving into your stabilization period. I really feel that most of my Libran friends, by the time we wrap up 2022, will be grateful for some of the pain and trauma and struggle that you had to go through, because not only will you be standing in the most powerful version of yourself, but you will be surrounded with the right kinds of people that actually care, support, and encourage you to doing what is right for you and making sure that you are happy first and foremost. So Libra, that's all that I have for you for November. I hope it's a beautiful month for you. I hope some of the messages resonate for you. And I really feel that by the time I am coming at you with December's energy, you will have a totally different perspective, different understanding, and different mental narrative. God loves Sagittarius, illuminating that third house for you. I'm sending you nothing but love. We'll talk to you soon.